Many people think say testing na just click button, but today I will show you now the real method. Hello guys, welcome back to Kasuki Hub. If you never subscribe to this channel, you dey miss o. So make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. In today's video, I will be talking about method of testing, how testers actually check applications in real life, right? So method of testing simply talks about the different ways uh, software testers check software applications to know if it's working correctly and also meet users requirements. And there are basically two ways in which software testers carry out this process. It can be done manually, automated tools. Now, if it is done manually, it is called manual testing. And if it is done with the aid of tools rather, it is called automation testing, right? Now, what is manual testing? Right, let's look at the first one. First one here, manual testing, right? Now, like the name suggests, manual, so it's a kind of testing done manually, right? In this type of testing, the tester performs text execution by hand without automation tools, right? So testing is done by humans, so human beings do it, and it doesn't really require automation tool, right? Automation tools like Cypress, Cypress, automation tools like Cypress, Selenium, Playwright are not required required for manual testing. Also, you don't really need coding skills. Coding skills. You don't really know read. You don't really need the knowledge of coding, right? Coding knowledge like or programming language like JavaScript, JavaScript, Python, Java. There are lots of them like that. So I'm just mentioning a few of them. So there are lots of programming language, right? So these are just a few. You don't need these to carry out manual testing. So you just need to the click, just need to the click, the enter data, follow steps, and observe how the system behaviors work, right? So you don't need script, don't even need any knowledge of script, right? However, however, even though we say we don't need automation tools, we don't need coding knowledge, it's done by humans, right? We still need to understand how software behaves, right? Still need to understand how to write good test cases, how to analyze bugs, right? How to analyze bugs and use testing tools. Yeah, I know. Bug, right? Bug is a new language I introduced, right? Yeah, in software testing or development cycles, there are certain words that are being used, right? In this channel, I'll be introducing you to certain words. So bugs are just like errors. So we don't call it error, we call it bugs or defect. So if a feature is not working as expected, it's termed a bug. It's called a bug, right? So as a software tester, with a manual automation, you need to know how to analyze bug, right? You need to know how to write good test case, and also you need to know how to use testing tools. Now, in writing, right? So in writing test cases, we need to know how to use certain tools, right? Certain tools, right? We need to know how to write certain tools. Tools like Google Sheet or Excel. right? Tools like Jira. Jira is a task management tool used for bug tracking and bug reporting, right? You can also use it for test case writing. However, you need to uh, you need to add a plugin like Zephyr, right? You need to add a plugin to it, and do some of these plugins are paid, right? And we have free ones too, but Zephyr is paid. So Jira is the most popular test management tool that software testers are using. We have other ones, so not only Jira, we have other ones, right? So in fact, we are going to look into how we'll briefly look at a mini demo on how test cases are written by manual testers, just briefly, right? So we have Quase. Quase is free. I'll show you how to write Quase maybe in other videos. I'll make videos on how to write test cases for Quase. We have Zoom. You need to know how to use Zoom for Zoom is for communication to Zoom or Slack, whichever one. We have Bugzilla. 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 Right. Bugzilla is for writing bug to analyze bugs. So if there's a bug, if you are testing a software and you observe the bug, you need to write in your bug report sheet. You can use Bugzilla to write it and send it to the developer. Right. So we also have Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps, right? You don't really need to know all this, right? You don't really need to know all this. You can pick some. Mustn't really use everything, right? So Excel is free, and that's why most software testers, manual software testers use Excel, and it is actually for small project. It's good for small projects. So uh, let's briefly look at how to write test case using Excel. So we are going to be testing, we are going to be testing this is sourcedemo.com. So we are going to look at the login validation, right? And we will use Excel. So I've actually written this is how uh, the test case documentation should look like. It mustn't you can there are some features, there are some things that needs to be there, but you mustn't follow this step. But I don't know if you feel like following this, I'll drop the link on the channel once I'm done. So if you feel like following this, you can. So we are doing this. We're going to test this, right? And they've provided the valid data for us. So this one, we are going to use this standard user and you're going to use the password, right? So we are going to test this. Now, in testing this, one thing you need to know is a feature name. Now, the feature name is login, right? Login. Let me use login validation, right? So we want to validate the login, right? So as you can see now, yeah, if you want to increase this, you can do it like this. It's good and fine. You can also, if you don't want, you can also come here and wrap it, do text wrap, right? Okay, sorry, good eyes, do text wrap, right? It's all good and fine. So if you want to increase, you go here, and left click and drag, right? If you want to bring it back, go here, left click and drag back. Whichever one works for you. Uh, drag right. Test case is just uh, the number that you use in tracking it, right, to identify it. So we can use log 101, right? Now, test description. Test description are just the various scenarios that we can use in testing this, right? So a test description or scenario can be, uh, let's say, verify verify that user can log in login. So want to see if user can log in into this, right? Login with valid validator, right? Verify that user can log in with validator. So we want to verify if the system behavior, if user tries to log in with the validator, and the validator we provided, we have standard user and secret source. So these are the two validator, right? So come here. So after reaching this, come here, do a text wrap, right? To come. So if you want to increase it, you can. Same thing I said. If you want to bring it back, you can, whichever one. Now the test type here is positive, right? You mustn't write this, but I just want you to understand it. So what when I say positive, what does it mean? What does it mean by positive? So this is a positive scenario, right? Positive scenarios test that the system works as expected, right? When validator is being provided. So in positive scenario, this is positive scenario. Right? It's testing that the system is working as expected if we provide a valid data, right? And the precondition will be precondition. Okay, user should be on. This is a login page. So user should be on the login page, or you can say user should be signing. User should be signed. User should be signed in and be on the login page. Login login page, right? Come here, wrap it. So for you to perform this, you should be signed in and be on the login page. Login page. Login page, right? Come again, text wrap. Now, test data. What is test data? Test data are those data that are used in carrying out the test. They are those values used to execute test case, right? And they also help to validate how the system will behave. Now, in validating this or in carrying out this test, we need test data. And what are the test data? They've been provided here. We have the username and the password. So test data will be username. So username here, let's pick this source, let's pick this as username and this here. You could give it this username, right? So if you want to type the password, just put Alt Enter, Alt Enter, right? Alt Enter. The password, let's go and pick the password. Secret source, secret source, password. Go back, yeah, put your, right? Then wrap it, right? So we have login, we have test case ID, we have test description, we are verifying that users can log in with validator. What is the validator? These are the validator. We have the test type is positive. Precondition, user should be signed in and be on the login page. Now, the execution step. The execution step. How do you carry out the execution step? Number one, let's say navigate to navigate to the login page, right? Then if you want to write the second step, click Alt Enter. To impute valid username, right? If you want to write the next step, Alt Enter. Right, impute valid password. Right. Then the fourth step, Alt Enter. Click on the sorry, the login button. Login button. Click on the login button. The reason I put this on column is because it's an action. So click on the login button. So you put your username, input your password, then click on this button. This is the step. So navigate to the login page. This is the login page. Input username, input user password, and click on this login button, right? So go and wrap it, right? Text wrap, right? You can still increase this if you want, increase this if you want, or reduce it as the case may be. Reduce this, increase this, or you can leave it like that, whichever one. Now, the expected results. Now, once you input the username, password, and login, it is expected that the you should be redirected to the home page or the inventory page or the product page. I think because this should be an e-commerce site, right? So let's see what will happen. Now, let's say user should be logged in successfully, right? Should be logged in successfully and redirected directed to the product page, right? So this should be the expected result. Now, wrap it. So in this, we are checking, in test case execution, we are checking the expected result over the actual result. So this is what is expected if you impute your test data, right? If you input the username, correct, valid username, valid password, the expected result that you should be logged in successfully and redirected to the page. However, we don't know if it's the actual result when we do this function. When we perform this action, we don't know the actual result, right? Now, let's see this. So let's leave this first and do this. So execution status means if the result is a pass or a failing test. Now, there are two ways to do this, right? I can come here and click on this green. Green means pass and red means fail, right? I can come and click this pass, right? I can write pass here, right? And come here and click this. That is if this passed, if the actual result passed, right? However, I don't want to do this. There's a better way to do this. To do this. So the better way to do this. And delete this. Now I can come here, this insert, go to insert. Now scroll down to drop down, click on the drop down, right? Over here, right pass, and over here, right failed, right failed. You can use capital letter, you can use small letter, whichever one. Now over here in the pass, click on the green, right? For the pass, click on the green. For the failed, click on the red. So we have pass, green, failed, red. Click on done, right? Then you don't need to add any other thing. If you add any other thing, it will bring out another one. So you don't need to add any other, you don't need to add any other row. Just go here, close, right? Now you can see that here, you can see now there's a changes here. If you click here, we have passed, we have failed. Now I'll show you why it's this is better, right? So now let's go back to the actual result. Let's do our text now, our testing now. So username and password. So this is the username. Click on it, copy and paste. We're actually doing the testing now. And password. Copy your password and paste. Right. So from the login step, said navigate to login page, input valid username, input valid password, click on the login button, right? So we are displayed displayed as expected, right? User was redirected directed to, let me see which page is this, product page, right? Or inventory page. This is inventory, right? Product, whichever one. Directed to the product page. Product page. Go to text wrap. Now the execution status, was it a pass test or a failed test? We know it is a pass test, right? So this is how manual testers actually carry out test case text case documentation and actually do the text execution. Now let's do another one. Let's look at invalid negative text, right? You can also do this, just click here and come here, over here, left, uh, left click on your mouse and drag it. That's us. Come here, left click on your mouse and drag it. Now, for this, we are using a negative scenario, right? So we are not testing with the valid data again. We're going to test with an invalid data, right? So let's look at verify. Okay, let's do this and we edit it. So verify that users can log in with an invalid data, right? An invalid data. And here we have negative, is a negative test. Negative test. Now, what do you mean by negative test, right? Or negative scenario? Now, negative scenarios test how the system behave when invalid data are provided. So if I provide an invalid data to this, let me log out. If I provide an invalid data, how will the system behave? Will it accept the invalid data or will it reject the invalid data? That is the mean. In fact, that's what testing is all about. Is to see, is to make sure the uh, testing is actually looking at trying to see the extreme of the breaking point of the software. So using more of edge cases and negative test scenarios to look at the breakpoint to see if the software will break, we falter, we crash, or if invalid data are provided. So that's actually the hope of testing, right? So for a good tester, you need to test, you need to use lots of invalid data, lots of edge cases, right? So still precondition is still the same, right? However, the test data will change, right? The test data should change. So we use user, okay, we just edit here. All right, so well, we have for the username, we have standard the user. So for the invalid data, let's remove this. Let's let's do let's do Fisher. Let's do Fisher user. Right, this is an invalid data. and we can provide a valid password, invalid, or we can even provide both invalid, secret, none, right? Xwrap. So invalid that we have fisher, user, and secret none, right? Uh, okay, let's do this and edit. Come here. So we edit this. So navigate to the login page, impute and invalid. Invalid username, impute, and invalid password. Click on the login. So okay, good here. So navigate to the for negative test, navigate to login page, impute an invalid username, impute an invalid password. Click on the login page, right? Now for the expected result, user user not should not be in logged in, right? Then we can go extra because when you're not logged in, something should happen. The application should interact with you, should tell you reasons why you're not allowed to log in. So that's the error message. So an error message should be displayed. Or we don't know the content of the error message, so we can leave it like that. If you know the content of the error message, especially from the document, like I said, now the last video I said testers work with documents. So the document specified everything that you need to know. And if for error message there should be stated that okay, user should not be allowed an error message like blah 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 blah, the error message should be stated. Then so if you have the error message, you can just write it, right? So we are not working with documents, so this is just a free flow testing. We just want to do a demo testing and see how testers do this thing in real life. So can also work. User should not be logged in. An error message should be displayed, right? So this is now how it will be like that. So now we go here, just click on the wrapping and wrap it, right? So we don't know how the actual result is. So let's do our testing and see how it works. So we'll click here, pick our username, our invalid username. Pick it, copy, paste, copy here, paste it here, right? Go back, pick our invalid password, copy here, copy, paste it, right? This is invalid username, invalid password. So let's see if it would work. Fine, good. So look at it. Look at the error message. User name and password do not match, right? So username and password, and this is an error message. So let's see. This is the error message. So verify that user can log in with an invalid data. So what's the expected result? User should not be logged in. So displayed as expected, user displayed as expected, user. Let's edit this. User was not able to log in, and error message was displayed, right? Right? An error message. An error message was displayed. User was not able to log in, an error message was displayed. Go here, click here. So this is a pass test. So you don't really necessarily need to do this insert and do this in ID the other time. You can just come here, drag it here, and fill it up. So it's pass test too, right? It's pass test. Let's see, we can do one more. Let's do one more. Let's look at one edge case. Login. Mm, So verify. Let's do one edge case scenario. Verify that user can log in with blank mandatory field. Blank mandatory. Verify that user can log in with blank mandatory field. Right? Verify that user can log in with blank mandatory field. Right? This is edge case. Edge case. Edge case. Edge case means unusual situation. It's very unusual for a user to trying to log in here without imputing anything. It's very unusual, but it can happen. So as a software tester, you need to think out of the box and look at these cases and try and see if it will actually work, right? So it's an unusual case, but we need to test them. So yeah, user should be same. Now for the username, it should be left blank. Username, username, right? And password, password should be left blank, right? Because you're not imputed any values, right? So for this, let's come here and then edit it. So we'll leave this blank. Leave. Let me delete this. So leave the username and password field blank or empty. Let me use blank, right? Blank. Dot enter. Click on the login button. Click on the login button, right? So it's the same. Yeah, user should not be logged in. Same thing. Now let's see if it will work. Let's see if it will work. Let's see if it will work. Not adding anything, right? So let's click on it. I can see, look at the error message. Username is required, right? So displayed as expected. You can go with these two. Displayed as expected, the user was not able to log in, error message was displayed. So passed, right? Right. So now we can also go ahead to make this. Now after doing this, now we can now make it a table. So just over here, copy here, copy everything here, copy everything here, down, and go to this border, right? Borders, then click on all borders. Click on all borders, right? Now we're giving it. Now we can also beautify this thing. Okay, let's make it bold. Let's make this thing bold. If you want, If you want, you can also beautify this. Can also beautify this. Click here. Whichever one, choose any of what's your choice. Let's choose this. Ah, no, this is bad. Let's pick this. Oh, don't want this. I think we picked. Let's pick only this one inside and pick this. Okay, fine, good. So you can also bold this if you want. If you don't want, you can leave it like that, right? You can leave it like that. You can leave it like that. So we have been able to look at the method of testing. We are willing to look at manual testing. Upcoming videos we'll look at. In the next video, I will talk about automation testing, right? I'll talk about for here. This is just all about manual testing, right? How method of testing and in the manual way, how testers check software application manually, right? Now let's look at uh, pros, right? Why manual testing is good or efficient. One, it is easy to learn. Manual testing is easy to learn, right? Easy to learn. You don't need any technicalities. You don't need any coding skills. It's very easy, straightforward. Number two, this is cheap. It's cheap, especially for small project. Small project, very cheap. Yeah. Excel is free, so you don't need any prepared plan for it. Just download it and you can even have it in your uh, let me see. Let's see, okay, come here. Yeah, you can even have it. This is exact sheet. And click on this. Just go to blank sheet, and yeah, you're good to go. So this is it. So it's just free, right? It's free. So it's for good for small project. Uh, another one is uh, it's best for human judgment. Best for human judgment. Like changing UI, right? Changing UI and UI means user interface and UX means user experience. So it's good for human judgment to understand if the app is responsive, if it's easy to use, and also if there's an alignment in the bottom, the color is okay, it's good for human judgment. So manual testers will look at these things and check it. If there's a the font error, if the font is not the same, if the color is not the same, if the interface is not good, if the app there's not the app is not the experience is not good. If, for instance, for I'm trying to log in, let me use Jumia, right? Let me use Jumia. Do you understand what I'm saying? Jumia. Okay, it loads fast. So, right, Jumia is an e-commerce app, right? So now this is Jumia app. Now this is the interface, right? So manual testers with your eye, you look at the interface, you look at the experience. So if I want to create an account, it's very easy, straightforward, just sign there. So I'm not looking for the account page and just roving around. It's very easy, right? So the experience is lovely, right? So if I want to order, all these things are very easy. This is what we call UI and UX experience, user interface and user experience, right? So look at the front. The front are the same. So if I go for appliance, checking all the appliance, right? It's very easy. This is very easy. And look at the color, the buttons. The buttons are in line. This is search. Search is in line. This is the account. help, cat, they're all in line, right? And the name is well spelled. You can see it boldly. So this is an example of UI, UX experience, right? So manual tester is best as for manual testing. The UI, UX experience is best for manual testing, right? So human beings use their judgment to look at this uh, and look at how it works, right? Uh, However, it has some disadvantage, right? Some disadvantage, right? So one of the disadvantages is that it's not good for performance testing. Not good for performance testing. Performance testing is talking about how the system behaves under load, right? Right. So manual testing is not good for performance testing. For instance, if a million customers log in at the same time on this page, how will it perform? So you can't use manual testing to check this. You need performance tools. You need automation tool like K6. K6 is one, JMeter two, right? So you need those tools to check these things. Because if not, it will break. It will break. And that's why most of these applications, sorry to say, some of our bank applications, they break. For some of our governments, uh, for instance, the Nigerian government will tell you to go and do something online. You know how many people we do it at the same time, it will definitely break. Very soon they'll not start telling you do it at night and stuff like that, blah 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 blah. It's because there was no enough testing for that thing, right? They didn't do enough testing for that stuff. So that's why it's breaking, it's always crashing. Are we getting? So not enough performance testing was done. And most of all these things are expensive, right? Very expensive. So another one is now not suitable for large scale regression. Not suitable for large scale regression. Now, regression testing is a kind of testing that is done. For instance, if there's a bug, if you discover a bug, right, and you send it to the developer and he fixed it, right, you need to do what we call a regression test. Now, regression test is a test that is done to check if a fixed bug is not affecting other features, right? So that's it. So, for instance, if I don't want to do this. Okay, if you find a bug, let's say you're checking on this and there's a bug in one of these places, right? And it has been fixed. So you need to do a regression test to check if that bug, that fix, is not affecting the account, right? So that's what the regression testing is all about. So for large scale regression, manual testing is not good because it's large and it might not be fast enough to do it. It can be overwhelming for the tester, right? So it's best to use automation tools, right? Also, prone to error, right? Prone to error. And because we are human beings and sometimes stress can be overwhelmed, so we can make mistakes too. So that's why manual testing is very prone to error, very, very prone, right? So we can make mistakes. Also, it's time consuming, time consuming. So imagine the manual tester checking this in. This if you want to if you decide to check this thing from start to finish, for a manual testers, it will be time consuming. You can even make mistake. Ah, you might, I don't know the time you will be able to finish it. I don't know the weeks. Now I don't want to know days you'll be able to, or even month. So, right? So you are checking the account to the from account because account have different features. So the account, sign in, sign out, password, right? You manage profile, you check all these things down to you order cart, put in the cart, down to when you shop, down to when you go to the payment plan, and blah 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 stuff. It's could be time consuming, right? So these are some of the flaws of manual testing, right? So we've been able to check this. We have been able to look at methods of testing. We have been able to look at manual testing. Like I said, I'll make videos for upcoming videos for automation testing, and we're going to look at the difference and see how uh, automation tester do the carry out that thing. And we'll also do a brief demo just like this, right? Now, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps the algorithm, and also let me know you want more content like this, right? So please don't forget to hit the like button, right, and subscribe too. Together. Now, thank you all. That